Hello and welcome to the Deck Foundry. We've all been in those games where your opponent takes a 10-minute turn, burns through half their deck and you're left wondering what the hell just happened and whether there was something you should have removed before it all began. Or maybe you're more familiar with the other side of the table. Missed triggers, forgotten plans and counterspells sitting dead in your hand because you forgot to cast them. Well, today I'm here to help you make sense of all that chaos, and we're going to talk about how to mentally organize a commander table, so you can cut down on misplays and have a bit more fun while you're at it. First off, let's start simple. Missing triggers can cost you games. Even the one life you gain from a land might mean the difference between winning and losing. Trust me, I speak from experience. One trick I use for remembering upkeep triggers is placing a small marker like a die or a coin on top of my deck. This gets in the way of drawing my first card, so I won't forget my trigger. Then, when I move that marker to the card that caused the trigger and resolve it. Then, if I have multiple, I make sure to group those cards together and resolve them left to right, like reading. That way I never skip one or lose value, or worse, have to rewind my whole turn and have to remember what I did or didn't do. If the order of the triggers matter, try to arrange them on your battlefield from left to right, so you remember which one comes first and which one you want to do last. That way you're always in control. Now, for other kinds of triggers, say you're playing a lifegain deck and you play a Tranquil Cove, a land that enters tap and gains you a life, I have a 3-step plan. Step 1. Know your deck. Know what your deck wants to do and what should happen when you play it. For this example, we are playing a life gain deck, so that means when I gain life, stuff might happen. Then, step 2. Group your cards by function. This helps a lot. I personally like to make 3 rows. Top row for creatures, middle one for artifacts and enchantments, and a bottom one for lands. Then I choose the side closest to my deck and I place everything that triggers on stuff on that side, and I place all my mana producers on other side and everything else goes in between, like big threads or activated abilities. Now, let's say that one life gain triggers 3 different cards. A Leyline of Hope, a Rock's Faithmander and a Archangel of Thune. You get to choose the order in which they resolve. So, if one says whenever you gain life you gain that much +1, another says double the amount of life you gain, you can choose the order they resolve in. So, you gain 1 life, add 1, double it, coming to a total of adding 4 life. But wait, there was a third trigger that also gave all my creatures a +1/+1 counter, and that might activate another ability that had nothing to do with life gain, like Feather Mage, who lets you draw a card and when she gets a 1/1 counter. This brings me to a super important tip for any new player, and the third and final step. Please just play the game at your pace. If someone says you're taking too long, just explain, like, hey, I'm new to the game and maybe new to the format or your deck. Most players will be patient and even help you out if need be. Also, try reading your cards aloud as you play them. That helps you remember what they do, and next time it'll come more naturally. Some triggers are just easier to remember, like enter the battlefield triggers. Some others, like end of turn triggers, are a lot harder, but that's okay. Even if you've been playing for 20 years, people still miss triggers sometimes. Magic keeps evolving, new cards, new interactions, we all keep learning. That's part of the fun. Now that we've covered our own turns, let's talk about tracking your opponent's turn. How to understand the board and spot threats before they surprise us. Now, let's say you just finished your turn and you've got some interaction in hand and open mana. Now, the perfect moment to scan the board and ask yourself, who's the biggest threat right now? Who's behind and might even need a little help? And is there a card that needs to go before it ruins our plans or lets someone else win? This is a lot harder in Commander than in Standard or other 1v1 formats, because with 4 players you might be looking at like 300 plus unique cards with wild interactions and changing situations every game. But don't worry, you don't have to keep track of everything. Here's what I focus on. 1. I watch for changes. At the end of each player's turn, ask yourself, did anything important change? Did someone play a huge threat, or did they leave up suspicious 2 blue mana? Did their battlefield have an explosive growth? And if so, what caused it? This keeps your brain from overloading with every vanilla creature while still catching early warning signs before they bite you. 2nd, don't know a card? Just ask. If a card hits the table and you have no idea what it does, just ask. Hey, what does that card do? Most Commander players love explaining their cards, and if you forget, just ask again. Hey, sorry, what does that do again? I've had a player ask me 4 or 5 times about the same card. No one got annoyed. We even joked and let him take a picture to remember it. There's no shame in learning, especially in a format as wild as Commander. Lastly, my 3rd and final point, threat assessment. Before your turn, or while the player before you is wrapping up, do a quick mental scan, like who has the strongest board at the moment, who has the most potential in card draw or untapped mana, and who's tapped out and wide open. This helps you stay strategic instead of emotional. Don't just attack the person who hit you first, and don't counter a spell just because it's flashy. Ask yourself, is it actually dangerous, or is the person actually ahead? Sometimes what could happen is more important than what's happening now. If a player leaves 2 blue mana open, assume a counterspell might be heading your way, or if someone keeps a lot of mana untapped at the end of their turn, they probably have some instant speed interaction. Expecting it means you won't be surprised or tilted when the big play you had planned just gets stomped on and stopped. You saw it coming. The more you get used to watching the whole table, the more you'll start spotting which commander is actually threatening, which cards turn a quiet board into a game-winning combo, and when it's time to step in and interact with their board. This awareness makes you a better player and your decisions more meaningful. Now, it's our turn again, and damn it, I forgot to use the counterspell or removal. Well, it happens to all of us. No shame in that, and no need to get frustrated. But if you want to get better at remembering your interaction, here are 3 simple tips that I personally use. 1. Play with the active player. Don't zone out between turns. Watch what the active player is doing. Follow their plays and think with them, not just against them. If you're tracking what's happening, you're much more likely to notice the moment when a spell or creature starts to spiral out of control, and you can react in time. 2. Keep cards in hand. Literally. Physically hold your cards. Flick through them now and again and keep it in your eyesight. You'll start subconsciously thinking, wait, don't I have a response for this? It's a small thing, but it helps a lot more than keeping your hand face down on the table. And my 3rd point is practice, practice, practice. If you often forget to interact, try playing decks designed around it, like a blue counterspell heavy deck, so you remember, hey, I can counter some spells here. Or maybe a deck with more instant speed tricks or more reactive lines of play. This kind of repetition wires your brain, and you'll start noticing more windows, and it'll feel more natural to use those cards. It'll become more like an instinct instead of just trying to remember when you can or cannot use certain cards. And hey, if you still forget, that's okay. With removal, use it at the end step of the play right before you. It's often a safe and effective time. With counterspells, sadly, if you miss your shot, you'll just have to wait and try again next time. Bottom line, you won't always make the perfect play. Nobody does. But with a bit of focus and a bit of habit building and a lot of grace for yourself, you'll keep getting better. If you want to practice some of the stuff we talked about today, I already have 2 deck decks up on the channel. Yeah, I know I'm EU AI, but they're built with purpose. One is a mono blue deck that lets you play most of your deck at instant speed. It's perfect for learning to react during other players' turns. And a mono green Separaling deck that is packed with upkeep triggers that help you train your brain to keep track and chain effects every turn. If you're looking to sharpen those skills, definitely give them a look. So, let's do a quick recap. Start your turn with intention. Take a breath, check your hand and review your plan. At the end of your turn, assess the board. Who's the threat, who might need help and what needs removing. During another player's turn, stay engaged, watch for warning signs and ask questions. And don't beat yourself up for missing plays. Hold your hand, stay alert and let practice do the work. Remember, Commander is chaotic by nature. It's part of the fun. You're not trying to be perfect, you're trying to get a little sharper each game, miss fewer plays, and enjoy more wins and more stories along the way. If this helped you out, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what trips you up at the Commander table and what tricks you've learned along the way. Maybe I'll do a video on it one day. And hey, if you want more tips, guides and deck techs, subscribe to the Deck Foundry and let's keep forging your game plan. See you in the next video!